Hello, this is Michael Lenso with Advertising Report Card, and today we have a report card that I'm very interested in diving into because this is a very deep dive. We took a lot of looks at up to 15 competitors actually on the SEO side, but saw some interesting low-hanging fruit, saw the difference of what they could be doing versus targeted versus remarketing, and a few other things that we could dive into. So let's talk about Slice MR. To get started, let's discuss how the report card works. Reports are only as good as their story as far as the data goes. Interpreting all the reports that you could pull on a website without actually running any ads, just looking at what's being done and looking at what your competitors are doing is only as good as what you could do with that data. So the whole point of this is pulling together those reports and actually giving action plans and insights of how much you're going to have to spend, things that you can invest in, things that you can absolutely avoid, especially in this industry because there's very high cost per clicks. So we're going to jump into the objectives now. Basically, we're going to go through every single channel between SEO, Google Ads, and social ads, the primary drivers through digital for lead generation, because the goal was to get a big look at everything that there is potential, as in what you could invest in, what you could expect from the return. So we wanted to make sure that all the channels were included, plus a little bit about the website as we go through each of these items. So the main thing that we found out of the gate on the SEO side was that there were included items in the onboarding form as far as competitors go. let me get myself out of the way here. So there were items included in the submission, including these. I'm slicing them there for and this was submitted as well after, but I've sliced them because we had them inside of the competition list. These are the other ones that showed up, ranking essentially between 1 and 50 for your core keywords. But what's interesting about these is that they all rank for different keywords that you have on your homepage that you are also targeting. So before we get into the actual keyword rankings, one thing I wanted to point out at the very beginning of this is that we want to make sure that we get the fix on 301 redirects between HTTP and HTTPS. Basically what's happening is on your domain, over 57 of the URLs on slicemr.com are still on the HTTP, and all the backlinks are pointing to them as well. All of that should be redirected with a 301 redirect to the correct pages. And eventually HTTP should completely phase out of index pages on your website. You can resubmit your sitemap after you change this, but this is like a long-term thing, so it should get done as soon as possible. So I wanted to point that out immediately. That's like the first thing that really came out. And I have a full report of all your index pages here. So let's see what you can do about that out of the gate as far as that, because this is really going to impact SEO. If Google's crawling both and you're basically forking your backlinks and you're ranking between the two domains, you should only be ranking for HTTPS, either www or not, because either the www or without, you would want to declare which one you want to prioritize, and then that way you just make sure your links redirect that way. You don't want to have even both of those. You can see it's split between the two of them. So over the time, it looks like it really wasn't managed on the side of how this would look and how it would get indexed. This was probably done during some site development. As far as the keyword gap report that we pull, the main point of this is to take a look at what everyone else is doing that is ranking for the keywords that, again, you're trying to rank for on your website. And speaking of which, just in case there wasn't any confusion on what that list of keywords was, you do have access to all the reports that we have inside of the Google Drive. And the main point of seeing this report is seeing what people are ranking for with SEO. We have a complete list actually of over 200 keywords, some of which are to discuss regarding who we should target competitor-wise, who we should target service-wise. But I wanted to reference in this report what I meant by the gap in the keywords. I know we haven't dove all the way in yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. But as you can see, as far as the keyword density goes, the other competitors are ranking for thousands. I don't think that they necessarily need to rank for 80,000 keywords. I don't think that that's like a priority per se, but ranking for more than 24 is absolutely something that needs to get worked on. And one thing I wanted to point out on the keyword gap is we got these keywords pulled from different phrases on your website that act as keywords by just breaking down how your homepage is written and the content regarding surveys, market research, qualitative research, data of that nature, like online qualitative research platform or service or company. But what's interesting about this is that each of the different competitors that are bidding on your keywords and ranking for keywords that you're looking to rank for all have different types of services that they rank for specifically. So you can see that Drive Research versus the Decision Company versus Dynata, they rank for different rankings in regards to what service they're trying to rank for. So this is SEO. This isn't PPC. So I thought that was really interesting because if you look at some of the comparisons, like advertising testing, like you can tell that that competitor is specifically looking. Let me pull up the actual competitor list real quick so I get the full name of that competitor right now. As an example, Slice MR again in this column to the right of it, you can see that Question Pro is first page for advertising testing, but they're trying to rank for market research panel. Drive Research is number 2 for market research panel. All of these websites that are competing with some of your keywords are aiming to rank for this search, but only 2 of them are really prioritizing it, while, again, there's outliers that are being prioritized. So the main thing I want to point out here is that while inside of this industry, there is market research, there's a lot of different niches and a lot of different verticals. So a lot of your competitors are bidding on some of the keywords that you are after. So you have a lot of different competitors in general, as far as like the actual breadth of competitors. But the other thing that you can look at is low-hanging fruit based off of who's competing on what. And you can see that actually in the bids for the cost per click, it varies extremely. I'm going to just kind of fast forward to that section right now. It varies extremely. This is one of your main paid competitors, newtonks.com, for searches like B2B market research companies. Look at that cost per click, $83. But Advertising Research Foundation, I guess that's one of the other things they're bidding for, but Market Research Survey, they're paying $20 to be top 3. So in the actual keyword report that we pulled for PPC specifically, if you look on the low end, the average cost per click can be around $11, depending on what you're trying to target between competitor terms, core terms that you want to show up for that you want to service, versus terms that are extremely expensive that can cause you to pay a lot per click. And when it comes to looking to bid for that something that expensive, you're going to want to make sure that when they get to that page that they have everything right there front and center for them to initiate contact so that you capture that lead, because you do not want to pay for that cost per click dozens of times and not convert. With that being said, there's a reason why this is a high cost per click. Online survey panels, people are bidding up on it. You can see here that the competition is considered medium in lieu of like all the other types of searches in that specific phrase, meaning that there's an online survey panels, online survey panel, panels online for surveys, like different variations. They range in competition. As far as this one in particular, people have bid up on it because people want that traffic, meaning that it is also converting. At that point, it's really about a pay-to-play situation. So that is the opposite of a low-hanging fruit, but it does give you an idea that there are people that are very aggressively marketing and advertising with Google Ads. And another thing, too, in consideration of that, is between Google ads and social ads. The companies that are investing are different as well. Drive Research, this is a company that is investing in Google ads specifically, but the main thing about them is out of the list that we pulled from SEO, none of them are advertising. So the main thing I wanted to talk about as far as what Drive Research is doing is that they have a really great set of 3 ads. So they have been using these since June 2022. So they're new. But the main thing is that between the 3 of them, they really drive the point home on 3 different types of tests. This is really important when doing this type of research because people invest a lot of money in advertising, might not mirror other people's success when you're trying to fork off and create your own. So what they did with these 3 different sections is they all have the same landing page, which I'll pull up right now. So when you click on one of these ads, you get sent to a survey, and the survey is just one question. So it's extremely simple, and what they're trying to do is get someone to initiate that first step. How many questions there are varies, but what they're trying to do is get people to start and get people to pay. This is extremely simple, but again, one of the only companies that's doing social. And they're spending good money behind it, so they're generating leads. If you go to any of these other ads that they're running, the pages are similar of what they go to, but the questions that they pose are different. So what I'm thinking is, A, somebody paid them to do a survey and they're just generating additional data this way, which you absolutely could if someone's looking for data in a specific city. You could generate leads through this and send them to a survey, and they can get entered in a raffle to win X, Y, or Z. Another thing that's interesting is that they are directly offering e-gift cards in a raffle, which Facebook is actually against. If you even use the word raffle, sometimes you can get your ad flagged, and raffles in a lot of countries have been considered illegal, depending on how they are conducted, because it's considered gambling. So that's an interesting thing as well, is what you can do to offer people. I mean, this is a huge company, Drive Research. They're running this. I would say that it's absolutely something that you can offer. The other thing I was going to mention as well is the targeting towards parents. So this ad is literally saying, hey, parents, test a new concept for child's education toys. So it's product-specific surveying. And you're being given money for that specific survey, or you're getting entered into a raffle, or however that works, or however you want to advertise, if it's pricing based. I know the landing page for Slice mentions this value proposition. You get paid per survey. You'll be rewarded every survey you complete with the amount of $2 to $50 per survey. So it's not even a chance of you getting a raffled amount. It's you getting paid verbatim. So getting paid up to $50 is something that you can advertise. So with that being said, let's scroll back up. So some major takeaways from these reports, and there's some notes underneath this, is that your competition varies in their breadth of targeting. You can look at Decision Analyst and Dynata as these quick examples. They are ranking for the keywords they want to rank for in certain areas, first page. Other areas not as competitive and also not the biggest breadth. But Question Pro is looking for like this huge database amount of keywords that, depending on how many people, how many services you're trying to rank for, how many people you're trying to drive for specific keywords, that would be an extensive, like a SEO strategy that will require multiple pieces of content per day, every day of the month, to even get to Question Pro. To do what you need to do to rank for the keywords that you need to rank for now is absolutely something you can do with a national campaign. So that's the major takeaway here is Decision Analyst and Dynata, I would say, is more who you can be looking at as far as what you would want to move towards. Fixing the 301 redirect is a huge thing as well. It's going to help you rank, but in general, 24 with or without that issue means that you're not indexed for any additional keywords. And the ones you're indexed for, as we're going to see, are not ranking at all. in the Gap report, they're actually not even within the first 100. The keywords that you are ranking for are ones that are not driving the traffic really. Seems to be the most of the traffic that you're getting is referral, which is great, especially if it's driving you significant business. But as far as getting through organic SEO, you're really not getting anything from the core keywords that you're looking to rank for on the homepage. So another thing I wanted to talk to you about this is the keywords on the homepage and on your competitors as well, for the most part, are geared towards B2B. The pages for people to take surveys and to sign up to take surveys seem to be more like landing pages for ads. And you don't really see anybody fork the home page itself into saying, like, are you this or are you that? One thing I thought that we might consider on the landing page for that is, first of all, closing up these areas to make them a lot more condensed. As an example, this, and this could all be on the same row with smaller content and really get the point across. If you're trying to show like a process flow, I would maybe add arrows, but right now it's just kind of like big areas that you probably make smaller. But this section right here it might not be as clear to somebody who's a parent who wants to do a survey for a toy, as an example. I mean, that's a little bit more direct, that type of a landing page, which you could create if you're on like a platform that would be like on Elementor. You would just duplicate the page for the last landing page you did and swap out the content. But I mean, as far as this goes, I would definitely have a more direct approach. And the slice rewards, I like the idea of it. I just don't see it really, really like the idea of slice rewards advertised. So I guess maybe I'm thinking about content clarity up front for the B2C versus the B2B, and potentially making two different pages for this so that it makes sense, because I'm understanding, I guess, to the point of being someone in a specific job role that wants to take a survey. I would definitely emphasize what job role, or at least have a different page for business versus consumer. That would be my main feedback on the landing page for that. On the keyword side of the website that Dan sent over, it was the fourth one. It was Dynata. One thing I wanted to point out is the online qualitative research platform, and the word online qualitative research and its variations of company and provider. It does look like out of everyone, they're the only one targeting that. So if you align yourself with them specifically, we can dive deeper into what the keywords they're specifically targeting versus the competitors to find more low-hanging fruit. Because again, doing a comprehensive national SEO strategy against one of these smaller companies, it would be easy to target specific types of keywords if they're not really building against it. And that plus combining the fix on the 301 would be the solution to get you to rank from effectively nothing for the keywords you want to go after. Sorry, the keywords that you want to go after. But the main thing is some of these things are a little bit more ominous on the search stuff. Advertising testing makes sense per se for what you want to go after, but going after the actual service for the B2B, for SEO, and for Google Ads would be beneficial if you're looking for B2B leads. B2B leads on social would be a little different because you have to target the actual people behind making the purchases on research data. So that would be a different approach. But if you're looking to actually get people who want to fill out surveys for money, there's the Google ad side, but that's more like the mass marketing where you have a lot of competitors and all different types of people saying, hey, we'll pay you X amount to do A, B, and C. And then you have people who are looking for more specific things. And with that being said, social media allows you to target the type of people that actually would be taking surveys, especially if it's an interest that they are into and they fit a specific demographic, whether it's income or a specific life event or someone that has gone through some type of financial situation where you've seen that who are the average people going through these surveys. And another thing that you had mentioned was that there's people who have gotten rich taking surveys. There's been doctors taking surveys that are very specific. If you need to get in front of a specific type of doctor, it's sometimes not in that doctor's realm of interest to start Googling how to take surveys to make money. But if they're a doctor looking to earn side income and you can create a lucrative ad based off of other doctors who've made a lot of money, then you could attract a lot of doctors to potentially give that a shot. So it's really about the targeting and who you want to target that's going to make the most sense as far as your return. But just doing mass general targeting is definitely not what I would recommend. One thing I wanted to point out with Question Pro is you might be wondering, why did I pick this out of everyone else who is in this list as one of the main competitors? And the main reason is because on SliceMR.com's homepage, one of the services you offer is turf analysis. It's very specific, and the people who linked to those types of key terms, and this was number one, were very aligned with the content that you have on your site. So there are other keywords that this website ranks for, but turf analysis, first of all, being number one, that means that they really push for this. So there are people out there that are being competitive, because Question Pro, remember, is that website that had all of those keywords. Some of the keywords you're going after, it's like, hey, I want to rank for turf analysis versus some of the other keywords that might be not as competitive. Trying to rank number one for turf analysis, it's going to be a long uphill battle, but there's other keywords you can drive traffic for sooner with SEO as long as you look at who your competitors are. The full report for every single competitor, again, is in your resource file. This report's kind of an overview of those reports, so you can go through each and every individual competitor as well and see where they stand. But the main thing here is looking at these keywords and looking at what they're ranking for. Top three, B2B online panel, online consumer panel. These are keywords that your competition's targeting, looking for the things that the people who have the most keyword dense websites that have the highest web rank, and looking at the other keywords that you're looking to drive traffic for is an important way to figure out how you're going to combat your position in SEO. But also, if you take what these keywords are and you turn them around into the Google Ads section, you also know what you're going to be paying per click. So based off of the traffic that you're trying to drive to your website for this service, sorry, 1 second. For instance, how many people are you trying to drive to your website to create conversions for B2B or B2C? These keywords are all B2B. There's thousands of searches per month, and the cost ranges. So if you're going to pay, for 10, 100,000 clicks on average, that's going to be your budget on PPC. That plus the SEO over time, when you get the traffic from organic, the traffic that you're getting from organic is just money that you would have had to put into the cost per click campaign. So doing SEO and Google is important for these keywords if you're looking to rank for B2B and B2C. The big difference is that with B2C and B2B, you can start with Google Ads and start driving traffic now while you build your SEO. But if you don't build your SEO and you turn off PPC, you start losing that traffic immediately. SEO, as long as you're a company that's going to be around for years, which I'm sure SliceMR is, you definitely want to drive your organic traffic, because that's just daily organic, whether you're doing ads or not, leads that you're going to get in addition to your referrals. And typically businesses that are heavy with referrals are searching for your company. So with that being said, Google does reward website domains that get a lot of brand traffic. So making sure that you are isolating your SEO in conjunction with the referral traffic you're already getting is going to help you. It's like an exponential result. And again, in the meantime, before you start ranking for those terms, you can kind of cherry pick those keywords with Google Ads. So I know that the video is going to start running long. I definitely have a lot to go through in general. But as far as the Google Ads side of things, one thing I wanted to really point out is that similar to SEO in Google Ads, there's certain people that are bidding on keywords that are specific, like Research Now panel and panel research, but they're not bidding on any other keywords that you're competing with them on. It's just these couple keywords that they're bidding on, and they're spending not a ton on it, but you can see the cost per click here ranges 10 to 20 versus 20 to 60 like some of the other competitors. So based off of the landing page experience, the ad, and the keyword and the bid, and how many people click it and how many people convert, Google's looking at all of that, and it's creating what they call a quality score. And you'll see your competitors have different cost per clicks based off of that, because it does have a big position impact. So how you rank positions 1 through 4, or even if you're pushed to the bottom in Google Ads, is impacted by that, plus how much you bid. So the main thing here is you can see that some people are paying less for these clicks. So there's a lot to be said about that. Main thing is coming in and looking at what they're saying in their ads and emulating it is going to be important, which you can see if you simply Google that keyword. So making sure that you are not making the mistakes of the people who are ranked low, and also using best judgment regarding how you want to use your ads and how you want to direct them, so you don't get flagged, because if you're targeting people too heavy or something controversial, Google might hold an ad back. It just depends. So in regards to the social ads versus the search, because we've talked a lot about keywords, there's a lot of opportunity to focus on specific cities, specific states, and specific demographics if you're looking to speak to someone that you're trying to generate results from. As long as you have an offer, we can create the audience, we can create the targeting, we can eliminate the things that you don't want to show for as well. So if you were to launch an ad, the main thing you want to look for is combining audiences that fit your target, but narrow them by also excluding audiences that don't, including things that could be mistaken. You can also look for your competitors, as you can see here. SurveyMonkey is a software, so it's, if you were to say people looking for side income and also people interested in SurveyMonkey, that could be something to target, but just targeting SurveyMonkey in general could be people who are interested in actually using it for their own purposes. But construction surveying is absolutely something you can exclude, because it's otherwise going to eat your ad budget. And the way that it does that is Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and any type of media placement that is like the 3-second skippable ad, 7-second, 15. You aren't bidding on cost per click. There are ways to bid on cost per click later on as you're optimizing it, but to run CPM, or cost per 1,000 views, is how you're charged. How much the CPM is based off of the competition and where you're trying to show your video. So it could be a news feed, it could be somewhere on a story for Instagram. How many people are bidding for your audience and how much they're paying is what raises the CPM, kind of like what raises the cost per click when it comes to paid traffic. So with the CPMs, as they go up and down, the main thing is how many clicks you get every 1,000 views is how much you determine what your actual cost per click is. So with CPMs, if you're showing your ad to people who are not relevant, not only are you not going to get any response from them, but the campaign's not going to optimize properly, and you're also going to be paying for that view, which over time is an exponential result, where you're spending maybe 50% or more of your targeting on people who you know will never be interested. And there's a lot of ways of doing targeting with excluding, and ways of doing remarketing, which I want to get into next, with that type of audience strategy when you structure it like that. One thing I really wanted to point out is that video is heavily underutilized in this entire industry, actually. So as far as the actual video, what I was recommending is some explainer videos on how the service works for B2B and B2C, putting that on the landing page and also using that for advertising, whether they come through the video ad or not, is going to help you convert new people. Videos are very effective. It doesn't have to be a very long explainer video. The more simple, the better, especially if you look at your competitors. Not the videos that they do, because a lot of them don't do anything at all with videos. Some have a few, but mostly none at all. Make sure it's very easy to understand. Say, hey, we're paying anywhere between $2 to $50. Take the survey that takes anywhere between 60 seconds and an hour, and get paid. And make it extremely simple. Also, testimonial videos. For anybody who sees any of the ads but doesn't turn into a customer, testimonial videos are a great thing to use remarketing with, showing proof of concept. Also, having a combined video of the explainer and testimonial to show in a reel is important as well. Last resort, that's what I added here, is just images and videos of customers edited together to create a video. But it would be better if we could create something that was explainer based or testimonial based. You can always start small and build your way up, but making it extremely easy for the general public and your targeted audience to understand what you do is going to be beneficial if you're looking to do any type of media buying outside of just referral-based traffic. As far as the branded content goes, establishing what is being done already into advertising from the B2B and B2C side. There's already things that have been done on the website. I know that some things are still getting done. I know that there's probably a lot on the table as well. Making sure that that's all translated into video as well as images is important because you can continue to fuel the targeting and campaigns that are working over time with more and more content. And you know that you're going to be driving it because over time, you're going to polish off what it is that you're doing. Remarketing is the bottom of funnel. Again, I've mentioned it a few times without going into it again too much to kind of spare time for other topics. You got to get started on this. Your competition's not doing social at all. Anybody who visits your site, you should do remarketing. Anybody who is taking surveys, we could create a custom audience for them and advertise additional surveys for them to take if they're not active. There's a lot of things that you can do with remarketing with the customers you have, customers you had in the past, and anybody who isn't a customer yet but has engaged with one of your offers or visited a page. As an example, this page here, /rewards. Anybody who visits this, you should be serving ads to, an array of ads, trying to get them back to either become a consumer or a business sign-up, which, again, with content-wise, we could elaborate on. Make it extremely common sense for anyone. And one concept I wanted to bring up for messenger campaigns is the competitor that is doing the one question at a time drive research. That is actually something that you could technically do in a messenger campaign, whether on your site or you push into a survey. But honestly, through Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger, this would be an interesting thing to automate. Have them have a conversation with you to get them started on the sign-up process to become a survey taker. Would be pretty unique. All you would essentially do is break down the survey into step-by-step and map that out into an automation tool, and then run Facebook ads and Instagram ads to basically click message on the ad, and then it'll start the conversation with that person. It's all targeted towards mobile, and it's really effective. So it's an interesting concept that I would recommend trying if you're going to enter into the social channel. So what I put together is something I want to work on with the call and come up with some final numbers. But to best understand what you could expect from each channel, the main thing to really look at from my perspective is the B2B and B2C channels. So on the B2C channel, the keywords are cheaper. You could also generate more volume, and the social media angles of being able to generate leads without having to spend a bunch because of whether it's a bigger ask, there's less value proposition offered. I think that there's a way that we can work together to come up with what you already have on the landing page and sharpen it, and then go to public with it. And then also keep in mind your competitors, how they're winning traffic over with the $150 raffle versus the actual money that they're giving towards Amazon gift card or what have you. But the main thing I wanted to walk through here is on the B2C side. So what I have here is green fields is what you can edit on the number side, and the gray is just part of the formula. So if your monthly ad spend was $5,000 for B2C marketing in general between Google ads and social ads, and the monthly management was $2,500, your overall expense for the month $7,500. That's your daily and your annual expense. As far as the average cost per click, like I had said on the B2C, if we were to average it down to as low as we could possibly get, the main thing is expecting a specific amount of clicks for that amount. So if you look at the monthly ad spend divided by the amount of clicks. This is how many clicks you can expect. So with that being said, this is again B2C. So you're looking at more on the Facebook side as well. Getting them to convert is important. What's the process going to look like? Are we just going to send them to this landing page? Are we going to try some other type of lead capture strategies to combat against conversion rate issues on the site? It depends. So I have this at a baseline of 10%, which if it's targeted right should be much higher. For instance, hey, are you a parent that wants to get paid to do a survey on a product? It'd be much cheaper to get an entire captured lead. But I have this as something that we can change if we need to, but I have it at 10% for now. So let's say you have 100 people fill out a form to start taking surveys. Let's say out of those leads, let's say they're not completely signed up, so I have like another breakpoint in here. And the reason why I have this, by the way, is because a lot of businesses that are generating leads have an initial lead process followed by a lead qualifying process followed by like an action that they're going to take. So let's just say that the total signups is people who are just giving their name, phone number, and email for you to follow up to get them to do a sign-up survey, whether you're doing outbound calls to the leads that you generate or if you're doing remarketing, again, to get them to actually sign up to do the full survey. So with that being said, if you are generating leads and the idea is to get them to just immediately sign up to take the survey, that's the first form that they're going to fill out, then that will be 100% pass-through. Meaning that every lead we generate, when they sign up the form, they're ready to start their first survey. So everybody who signs up, one thing I remember on the last call is I asked what like the conversion rate between people who sign up to take surveys versus people who actually take them, and one number that was thrown out was 50%. So this is a number again that we can change, but from leads generated and to effectively people who finish the survey, I have it as contract signed to make this even more clear. Surveys completed. You have 50 total based off of generating leads at this cost. So let's say what the value is for a B2C person that signs up and is ready to take a survey and then completes a survey. How much is that person worth to you at a monetary amount? That's where I would change this number here. And then effectively what the profit margin is off that money that you earn is where you would put these numbers. I put 500 here. I mean, as far as you're generating data, I don't know how much you're selling long term, how much you're going to sell the same data over and over again, how you're looking at the value of each person you sign up now a couple of years down the road versus immediately. But as far as the profit margin goes, that's something I want to talk about. But this is what we have so far. The main thing that I wanted to point out is that with what we're generating as far as the initial survey sign up, what I wanted to ask about is the long-term repeat business. And that's what I have down here is actually a projection. Because let's say you have survey completed by somebody who signs up in month 1 for 50, but the next month they also fill out another survey because of remarketing, because we're retargeting them to come back and fill out another survey for more money. What if they fill out more than one survey in the first month? So what I have here effectively on the projection and this top line is every month we're generating at least 2 more submissions per month because with our work, we're always optimizing. We're always trying to make things make more money effectively by not having to spend more, but lowering the cost per lead. So without increasing the budget, we eliminate ads that are not working. We eliminate keywords that are not working. We perfect ad creative to generate more business over time because we're looking at the performance. So that's why the number goes up, but you can always just erase that. But at the same time, what I'm trying to show is the compound revenue per submission. So let's say it's not 500 on the first month, but over time, you can see that month 2, month 3 from the leads generated just from this campaign, what it could generate. So what I have here is effectively the actual total contract value per month generated. from this survey. So let's say that, again, you value that at $500 for when someone signs up and fills a survey. The total value is the surveys completed multiplied by the value per survey. So if you're looking at an actual amount of surveys in month one for 50 for that amount, which was from the ad budget of 5,000, that value was 500, it would be 25,000. Now, again, we have to play with these tables as far as what numbers fall into the green, but I think that we could come to a pretty comfortable place as far as what the value is over time, what the average survey is per person that does fill it out, what the value of that is. I'm sure it also varies greatly, but main thing is I wanted to see what the thought process behind this. And then as far as B2B goes, I mean, it's going to change greatly. How much is somebody who comes to you to buy data worth? Because is it worth paying that extra cost per click? Is it worth the $50, $100 cost per click if the person who comes to you is spending a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000? It might be, especially if they're a repeat customer, because the initial upfront cost to generate that lead, it could be $500. But if that's someone who's going to spend $5,000, it depends. All on the profit margin at the end of the day. Especially if it's data that you already have that you can sell and lease out to multiple people. I mean, it really depends on how much you would want to put out, but I mean, that makes a lot of sense as far as if you did have the profit margin to resell the data over and over again, the surveys that people submit or the data points that you have, then I would drive as much as possible because the margin's there. And if the margin's there, then all it really is about is increasing the ad spend on the channel. So that's what I wanted to point out here. When we get back on the call, let's go through any of the questions you have on the data and the reports, and then we can wind up here and figure out what would make sense if you wanted to jump into Google Ads, social ads, SEO. I highly recommend you start with SEO if I was to recommend anything, because long term, that's how you're going to draw the results for the searches that you want to rank for. And it's just like a tsunami. Once you start ranking for a term, you're just getting traffic every day, and you're not having to worry so much about getting new traffic as much as you are handling the new traffic. After that, I would say PPC until SEO starts ranking, so you can start getting the traffic now from the keywords, and especially that helps figure out exactly what SEO keywords you want to rank for based off of the keywords in your Google Ads campaign that worked out. And then, of course, the very least, do remarketing on social, but there are ways to do proactive targeting on social to create leads as well. So this is Michael Ensor with Advertising Report Card. Looking forward to getting your feedback.